Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning. It's Grace Talks time. My name is Beauty Kotela. I am sorry we started a bit late. I could blame everything, but there's no need. But we do have challenges these days. Stage 6. But let me apologize for starting a little bit late. And so we're going to go right into it. Today I have people have these words that they say power couple, but I can use that word for my friends that I'm hosting today because it is people that I have watched. It is people under whose voice I have sat, especially on family life. But I've sat under their different voices on different topics, and I can quote things and I can illustrate things that they have said to my life to unlock things in my own spirit. But we're not here to talk about their individual presentations and impact as speakers, but we're here to talk about them and to hear from them really on on how this whole marriage story unfolds. But before I introduce them, I'm going to quickly take greetings because we do this. So we do a number of things here. One, you walk in and you say good morning. You greet us. You tell us where you are joining us from. Two, after you greeting us, you then invite someone. You tag a friend. You tell them we are here. 3, you hit the like button or the love button or whatever it is. And 4, if you don't mind, we ask you to share these proceedings so that somebody can be blessed through you via your own Facebook wall. If you are joining us via YouTube, you can just copy the link and share it wherever you feel you need to share it, your WhatsApp status, etc., etc. But I can tell you now, it's going to be hot this morning, and I do not want to waste too much time. Let me take greetings. My lioness has been here, took the front row seat. Good morning, joining us from Cape Town. I imagine guys say George is in the house, so we're still in the Western Cape, guys. Good morning. Right, Lungas is here. Good morning, Ezwelicha. Somebody joining us from Maikeng, so we're now in the northwest, I think, of Gauteng. All right, and then my lioness is doing what we do, right? To tag someone so that we can get going. Cape Town is in the house. Morning, Bumi. East London is in the house. My friend is here, Mama Umfundiskazi Umpangani. Good morning, ma'am. Kabeja is in the house. Morning, Buntu. Morning, Nelly. Thank you so much. And now we're crossing the borders. Lesotho is in the house. Lieketo is here. Good morning. And Oktula joining us from Johannesburg. Good morning, and welcome. We've got Tadisa, Morene Klesi, Middle Drift. Good morning, guys. And yes, let's start tagging people. And then we continue crossing the borders. Maun is in the house, my second favorite, my second home in Botswana. Good morning, Kiana. Thank you so much for joining us. Morning, Tandy, joining us from Cape Town. Somebody wake up. Ukoli said she must be tagged. All right. Busi, thank you so much joining us from Johannesburg. Mike Chi and Chimunia joining us from Gabs. All right, ladies, thank you so much. Let's continue. I will put up those greetings. I may not call them all of them out. All right, Bridget coming in. Good morning to the exes, she says. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go straight into it. If I have time, I'll make announcements. But if I forget, guys, Theatre of Grace Conference, we are filling up very quickly. In fact, if you register, I don't know when. If you register in May, we will put you in the second hotel, but that is fine. That is absolutely fine. The first hotel is almost full. We've almost reached capacity in the first hotel, the hosting hotel. But right next to it, there is a Birchwood Hotel, which is like a 5-minute whatever. So don't stress if you don't get in there. That's all I have to say. This afternoon, we've got Best Life Seminar at 3 o'clock. Remember, we are closing our fasting and 7-day fast. All right. Today is the last day of the fast. We are fasting today. So if you have an opportunity to ask God your big, bold prayers, today is that day because it's the last day today. And today we remember we are holding on to the hope of his second coming and we are asking for the gift of the Spirit. Let me bring my guests in so that we can get on with this conversation. So this morning, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Umfundisi Nomem Xhamela onto Grace Talks, and let me allow them to greet first before we go too far to make sure that they are audible. Mfundisi, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am Kotela, and good morning to your viewers and listeners everywhere. Good morning.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am.
Morning, my Sheppy, that's how I call her. and good morning to the recipients of grace, God's grace. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
inviting us. Yes, we feel honored and we can't wait to share.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very excited. I think I'm more excited now. I find a way to contain my excitement here because I have never sat under you and doing what we call family life and not walk away with things. And one of the things we often talk about in Nkwala Pendulum is it is how creative you are in bringing sometimes hard truths to the surface, but in a manner that is very creative. For those who do not know, Memke is one of the authors in the book Theatre of Grace. So we've had this relationship long coming. And so I'm going to go straight into it. I think I will allow Mfundisi and then as a way also to introduce you guys as a couple, all right? You've been married for 39 years. I don't even know what that looks like. I mean, I'm in year 15, I think 39. But the thing about you guys, though, as long as you've been married for that long, but you still look young. You both look very young. So you've been married for 39 years. My first question, before we go on to the topic, the interesting topic of today, Yindo Eti, what has kept you guys, you know? And I want to hear that because the perspective may be different. So I'm going to start with Mfundisi. What has kept you for this long? And of course, till death. I never talked after 39 years. So what has kept you guys?
All right. I don't know whether I'm audible because it looks like my screen is frozen. I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
Everything is good
Yes,
on our side.
My movements, because on my side it's kind of frozen, but it's fine.
Yeah.
What has kept us together for this long? In the first place, we have a background of both parents staying together on my side and my wife's side. And we saw in them the commitment of being together. By the time we got married, our parents were already married for years. So we copied from them. We were groomed into a situation where we would see how beautiful it is for parents who stay together to be together for that long. So it got into our minds, it's embedded in our minds, it's kind of, we have internalized it. As such, it made it easy for us to be together and be committed to each other. The issue of commitment it was non-negotiable, is not even something to talk about. It is just taken for granted. So no matter what happens, we are together. Whether it is an up or a down, we are together. That is why we are together for 39 years. It does not mean we have never had any difficulties or problems, but that commitment, which is taken for granted in our minds, which is embedded, it says we are here, we're going nowhere, we're married, and until we die. Yeah, basically that's it.
Stuck to it. Ma'am?
Yes, I would say, you know, what has kept us, it is understanding that, you know, marriage is like a car. So it needs regular maintenance. You understand? So it may look and work okay. It may look and work okay or look great today, but if you don't maintain it, it will sooner or later it will break down. So having understood that marriage is works like a car, we made it. You know, we were conscious in deliberately or aggressively maintaining our marriage time and again. I mean, it's something that we made it a project. We said, for this to work, we need to maintain it, doing a regular service now and again. And what is interesting about our marriage with this maintenance of it is that we explore things. We are not lazy. We are deliberate in loving each other, and openly so. And we are so legit that we are not afraid to when things are low. That's why our topic for today, we are highlighting the lows and the highs. We are highlighting the ups and the downs because we are very original. We are not apologetic about our lows. We want to share so that because our passion is our mantra, if I may put it. Marriage or family life is part of us. So what kept us is not only enjoying the space, but also enhancing others, also making it a point that others are growing. We were conscious of the fact that whatever we do, it affects other people, so that has kept us. That theme of knowing we have over 300 couples that we have married. Over 300 couples. Now, that on its own is something that all the time would make us to say, we can't lose. We can't give up. We can't throw the towel. Yes, because there are people that are looking at us, and that has kept us together. And that's why we can't wait to share with you some of our lows and some of our ups.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that because my next question is the topic, that there are two honeymoons. What do we mean by that? But before I forget, because I may forget this, because one of the things I'm getting, it's what you said, ma'am, about that sometimes it's not only about the two of you. Yes, it's about the two of you. And also in his message about parents, sometimes it's about your family. Uzafika uthini the same, uzafika uthini when you say ayisayiphelanga, when they've kept it for that long. But also with you guys, it's also then been about us who have watched you, who have said and heard you say things about Mchado. And this is where I'm going with this, because I may forget to say it in the end. I've got friends of mine who said to me, ma'am, we were finished. Early on in the early years of their marriage, we were finished, we were going down, and there was no way up. If it were not for Mfundisi, they are now 13 years down the line. If it were not for I am here to testify of your commitment to your marriage, but your commitment to our marriages, to seeing them improve. But let's get to the topic of today. I don't know who wants to start. Let me not. Like I said, I'm not going to do this round robin thing. Let's go to the two honeymoons, and then we will progressively talk about the ups. I don't know which one I want to start with, the ups or the downs, but let's go into it.
Let me start, love, if you allow me. Where this topic is coming from, you see, we were blessed. My husband and I have been blessed to sit at the feet of old Tim Ngabisa. Who is a legend of family life. We were blessed that he was both our lecturer when we were doing theology, at Bethel back then. So we have been blessed by his ministry on a very up and close, thing. So now, what he normally say all the time is that umchato. Many people, they give up is speed emchatweni, and love, you will remind me the saying that he usually say when he gives an analogy of umchato, that it's like elwandle when you go fishing, and then he normally says the great catch, the great catch your fish is not upper and says that up at the surface. Yes, he would say utatela. Does it say ezinzulwini or something like that? But you get yes. Now he says abantu abaninzi they baphelela apha on the surface and they give up quickly emtshatweni wabo bengekangeni deeper where they are going to catch the biggest fish. So from that analogy, we came to a realization, my husband and I, we are going to talk about our first honeymoon. He's going to talk about that, how we experienced it, but I can tell you now that uma besiphelele apha on the surface, xa sidibana nee-lows, nee-ups and downs, we wouldn't be experiencing the second honeymoon. Hey, let me tell you out there. Let me tell you out there that we are on our second honeymoon and yay. That is why we are younger, we look younger, because we are now experiencing our second honeymoon. And we are saying, we are looking back and we are saying, had we stopped when we were experiencing those lows, we wouldn't be experiencing what we're experiencing now. So that's when now the first and the second honeymoon comes in. I'm not sure if I did justice, Lavi, in highlighting this.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, Lavi. We just to give a perspective to our viewers about when and how it all started, because a start on anything is very much important, because it will set the tone as to where we are going and how it's going to unfold as time goes on. We met some 40 years ago as single people. Maybe was it 1980 when we met, got married in 1984. In 1983, she was, 1980, that's when we met. And then we were already in a relationship where we would say we are looking forward to marriage. And one thing I was taught and which I internalized is that you never promise a woman marriage and you don't marry her.
Hey,
and the first, exactly. I internalized that. And I knew that while I was very young, in my 20s, maybe 19, 20 years, I can't remember, but long time ago, I knew that if I had to propose marriage to her, I had to marry her. And she's the only person ever I ever promised marriage, because I internalized the teachings that we were taught a long time ago, that you don't make a promise and break it. It becomes an unfortunate thing, and it will bring some unfortunate circumstances on you, because somebody is crying and their tears, as they fall down, they are collected, and God is keeping those tears, and it may be terrible life for you if you do that. So the only person I ever promised marriage is the woman I married.
You married
so exactly, it doesn't matter who I ever met before I met my wife. I never promised them any marriage, and they knew it. So I promised my wife marriage, and I proposed, and we agreed. You know what happened in 1982? We were still at Bethel College students. In 1982, we were together with Pastor Shongwe, the president of the union, the present president of the SAU now, and Pastor Fetcher, who is now in the Department of Education. I don't know what rank is he there in those things called the subject advisors, but he's just more than that now. Exactly. So they were all our friends. We were all a circle of friends. So what happened that because I had already made up my mind, I'm going to marry this lady, we discussed that during the holidays of December 1982, Pastor Fetcher and Pastor Shongwe should go to her home. And in the guise of going to do colporter ministry there,
they were
remember
spies.
at that time, yeah, exactly.
The two spies.
There were spies. There were spies for me to go and check how my wife is living in her home. How is she relating to her parents? What kind of person is she when she's at home? And is she marriage material or not? So I actually spoke to them, Shongwe. If Shongwe could join us, he would actually bear testimony to this. But if Fecha would join us, he would bear testimony to this. Both of them went there, and they stayed for about a month.
Yeah.
And they were busy with Kolpota ministry, and they would come back. My wife would host them and put them in their rooms and give them food. And it was a strategy that was planned by me and them, and they stayed there. And then
I was not aware. And I was not aware.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You are being watched. You are being appraised without you knowing.
Exactly. So when they came back, they said, "Man, in that woman, you have a wife who could be with you for a very long time. She's very stable. She's very much a home person, an indoor person, a workaholic, and somebody who's very brilliant, and somebody who's got brilliant ideas." Remember, at that time, she was only maybe 18 or 20. I can't, but she was very young. But she already had traits of leadership at that particular time. And they spoke to me about it, and I said, "Well, I've already promised to marry her, and I'm going to not going to change my mind anytime soon." Thank you, guys.
Come back negative.
Yeah, you see, exactly. We just needed to verify those things. That's why I sent those two spies, and they did a good job. And my wife and I got married in 1984. So it's 39 years since then.
Yeah.
And God has blessed us with many. And of course, we're talking about the honeymoon. The honeymoon. Our first honeymoon was so beautiful. I can tell you that. We were never privileged to go out on a boat cruise like today's people and all that. But we were together, enjoying each other's company. Remember, at the time when we got married in the early 80s, we were taught never, ever to have intimate relationship with a woman before you get married.
Yeah.
The no sex before marriage thing was so internalized that my wife and I, from 1980 when we met, up to 1984, we just sat there and enjoy each other's company, doing things together, but never intimate. Never intimate. Now, when I tell that story to the youth of today, they shake their heads in disbelief and say, "For this, you want us to believe that?" In other words, they take their own standards and pose them on our standards of the 80s. Remember, they are living in the 2000s or this time now. They do everything. They do vacations. They go out on a honeymoon before they get married. They become intimate, that kind of stuff. Look, what we did on our time of not being intimate, not even being, as I say, intimate. It's something that was taken for granted.
Yeah,
it's something that we knew that it had to be like that. We don't meet and have intimate relation with it. It's something that we took for granted, and we did not know any better.
Yeah.
Now the youth of today, whenever we talk to them and they say, "Look, we never met with my wife before for the 4 years. We were just," and they can't believe it. They laugh it. They laugh it out. Say, "No, there's no such a thing."
Just on that point, if you allow me, Mamukotela, because we are not just relating a story here. We want to leave some lessons out of it. That when people deprive themselves of an opportunity to know about each other and make their union to be holy, where you invite God in it, and they mix it up with all the intimacy and all the sex and everything. And while they do that, they don't know that they are actually planting a seed that will hit back on them later on in their lives. And they are also actually depriving themselves of an opportunity to learn about each other and to embrace God in it. And when my husband, when my husband met me, I was actually focused. I was still 18 years of age, 17, 18 years of age. But at that time, he quickly learned that he has met his match. He has met someone who is God focused. Because I remember, if you remember, Lavi, when we were at Stasa, there was a time when we were at Stasa, we were not married yet, but we were an item. And I was inside at Stasa, and he wanted to see me. He wanted to talk to me, and he sent his friends. You remember, you sent to Funeka or whoever, yes,
Yes.
to come call me. And he was so disappointed when he got a response from me to say, "I'm listening to a sermon right now. I'm at Stasa. Yes, I'm listening to a sermon. I can't be going outside." You know, and later on he would say, "Hey, what kind of a woman is this?" You know, but later on, as we were married together, those things came back, and he would understand that, you know what, I knew from the word go that I met someone who is God focused, someone who loves sermons, who doesn't want to be disturbed. So I'm trying to say the foundation that we started on, it was so good that it came back handy when we were meeting now our lows and our highs. It came back handy because he could realize that he met someone who was a prayer woman, someone who was focused on God, and so forth. And so I wanted now for us to highlight our highs, because from the honeymoon that we had, moving forward, we experienced our high moments. But immediately, Mavi, if you recall, immediately when we got first year of our marriage, 1985, we got married in 1984. 1985, we immediately received or experienced our lows, because that was the time, you know, as a newly couple, we are trying to conceive, we are trying to have a child, but we learned that we can't. I'm not sure if you can relate to that one, because I become emotional when I talk about that one.
Before Mfundisi comes in and on that one, absolutely. I just want to put a finger on something that you've both said. Mfundisi mentioned it early, but it has come through in both your sharings just now, and that is the word commitment. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because our audience here is not just married couples, but we often have the young ones who are contemplating marriage, and those who are newly married here, and the word commitment. And now ma'am, you just sort of drove it home in that the commitment, first and foremost, is to God, and then it will be to each other. Because sometimes if we commit to a person, and can be shaky, but when the commitment is to God, it helps you to hold on to Mbuyi, not because you do not see their faults, not because you do not think they're whatever, but you've made a commitment to God. First and foremost, when you said I do, you did actually say I do to them, but really you were saying I do to God. So I just wanted to just put a pin on that big word that we have already shared this morning. The word is commitment. All right, Mfundisi, you want to share about, was it now the low?
Yeah, in fact, before I get into the laws, I just want to show that the first year, it was a honeymoon year, a year in which we only saw the good and we enjoyed the good that was coming with marriage. Remember, we were also meeting for the first time, being husband and wife, and being close and be intimate and share the same bed for the first time from 1980 when we met up to 1984. And now we were in 1980 because we got married in December 1984. And in 1985, that particular year, it was a beautiful year. My wife came into the marriage with a bit of a chronic illness. And it's quite strange that that chronic illness did not bother me at all. I was young, I was excited, I had a wife, I am enjoying her presence, and all those negative things like the chronic illness of she had these seizures.
Mm. Mm. Oh man. Umfundisi is frozen, but maybe you want to continue until we get him back again.
All right. I hope I stay put. My husband was trying to explain that when we got married, in fact, even before we got married, in fact, it's in a book that I've been writing for years, where I relate my story of how I happened to, have epilepsy. So now there was no problem when I was growing, when I was all by myself, when I was trying to, face that challenge. But now that I got married, having to share my life with somebody else now it meant if I have to put it that way, it's now going to come to the fore, as somebody will have to experience my side of my life, which is not that good. So but as he has just put it, and I'm glad that he's the one who's just relating it, that he didn't have a problem with it. He didn't have a problem with me being okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all of a sudden on Thursday, I have a seizure. All of a sudden, I'm in a bad mood. All of a sudden, things are not okay. He didn't have a problem with that. He had he actually had to learn how to go about it. Now, the reason why we are mentioning this is that, as you have rightly said, that people who are here are not only people who are married. Some people are going to get married and they don't know what challenges they're going to have when they get married. So this was our major challenge, that now you have to deal with someone who all the time has to, have seizures, and my husband had to learn how to handle that. And not only that, he had to learn how to go about, even with our intimacy. It affected us in May. The funny part of this was that I'm even up until now, I'm not supposed to be overexcited. I'm not supposed to be very down or, I'm not supposed to experience that. Now, to balance that, I mean, when you are married, you're overexcited. You get excited sometimes, and while we are in the middle of getting excited, and now he has to experience this bad thing of a seizure. It's not something that I want to talk about all the time. It's something that embarrasses me, but it's something that he, as my partner, made it easier for me not to feel embarrassed about it. It's something that was a challenge, but something that he made it easier for me to accept myself as I am. I did not come forward or make it public. It was only people who were close to me who knew about my situation. My doctors, my, whatever. But later on in life, he made it easy for me to actually get out of the, cocoon and address it and talk about it. So that was our law, if I may put it. But together, we forged ties together, and he accepted me as I am. That was the first thing that made me to know about this guy who accepts me as I am, and who says we are in this together. And to me, that was the foundation of me accepting him later on in life, when we were now receiving our laws. Some of the laws that I'm going to be talking about here that are coming through him. And to me, that was easier for me to say, why? How would I not accept this man if he was able to accept me with my dirty or with my thing? There's nothing that can stand between me and this guy, because he first accepted me as I am. When maybe let me also highlight that that caused me the seizures that I used to have before. The doctors used to say I need to conceive. I need to have a child so that I'm able to reduce having seizures now and again. And that
Okay.
was a challenge because I'm not married. I can't have a child, not being married. But I had to go with that. I had to exercise discipline and say whether this will lower my seizures. I cannot have a child before marriage. But
Yeah.
now the long and the short of it, we got married, and hopefully I'm saying this thing is gonna end. This thing of seizures is gonna end because I'm going to have children. But lo and behold, I was told that I cannot conceive. Okay, Lavi, take it from there. I tried to give them a background why
Okay.
I could not conceive when we got married, and this was a challenge. Maybe you
Yeah.
can
Phyllis,
take
you
it
are
from there.
muted. Phyllis, you are muted. Please unmute. And while you are unmuting, Mem said something very powerful here. And I think especially to us, Mem, as wives, that umshado is give and take. Umshado is
Yeah.
give and take. Sometimes we can, and I'm saying this as wives, we can take the high horse version of things, because we are always right, and we are always the ones who are, we are good, whatever, at least in our own eyes. That mistakes only come from the other side, and that we can be so impatient. And when I say mistakes, I'm not even talking about that. Areas of weakness always come only from the other side. But truth be told, this give and take. Sometimes you are the one who is on the weak side of things, and your spouse puts up with that, or is there to support you, to uphold you. And sometimes it's the other side. It is your husband that is on the other side, and they need you to do the upholding and to do the uplifting. So I love what you said, ma'am. It almost gets me emotional. That how do I then, when the wheel has turned and he's on the bottom part of the wheel, how do I then take the high horse when it was my turn? When I was at the bottom part of the wheel, he stood for me. Not only did he stood for me, he continued to love and support me through that moment, because that was a difficult time, because seizures, I don't know why, but they can affect your confidence, for example. But when you have someone at home who, in spite of how low your confidence might be, still thinks you are beautiful, still thinks, for like that, I find that's such an endearing word, because it's like ownership. You're mine. Anyway, Mfu, sorry, let me not speak for you. Welcome back.
All right, thank you very much. I've got connectivity problems here, and I don't know whether it's not going to repeat itself. But I was at a point where I was saying on the first year, I did not see anything negative, in spite of the fact that my wife had a chronic illness of seizures. But that did not daunt me whatsoever. I actually loved my wife, and I was there to support her, to make sure. We were young, by the way. We were in our early 20s. We were very young. She was also very young at that particular time. So, but we enjoyed each other's company. We just had a great time. We wanted to have a child, but we couldn't for some reason. Then we went to a doctor up in Mount Frere. We were in Mount Frere at that time at Xhamela, who helped her with just getting her to be fertile, because we were enjoying each other intimacy, but she wouldn't. We planned prior to getting married that, look, when we reach our 50s, if God can keep us until we reach our 50s, our children, we must have at least up to 3 children, and all of them must be out of our hands by that time.
You don't want
so
to
that
have...
you and me can enjoy each other for the remaining years. We planned it prior. I think I remember where we were standing at Bethel College, we're talking to each other, said, if God can help us and keep us, we will have children at this particular time. But then when we got married, we did not have children at that particular time. We had the child the following year. In other words, it was 1985. We went to a doctor just to make sure that she can be fertile, she can fall pregnant, because she was not falling pregnant. And then I think in 1986, we had our first child. He's our first son. Yeah, and we were very blessed. So we had our children later on, and then we said, the target is, we're still on target, we're still on track, because we say if God can keep us by the age of 50, at least these children must be out of our hands, must be on their own, so that you and me can enjoy. Now we are far beyond 50. She's over 60, and we are enjoying each other. And as we planned, that's what we call family planning. We did our family planning prior to our marriage. You get what I'm
Prior
saying?
to everything else.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I understand when people talk about family planning these days, they talk about going to the clinic, get an injection, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Our family
That's
planning took a different line altogether. We
Yeah.
planned our family. We knew that at such and such an age, we must have been get done and over with bringing up children. In fact, we should be thinking about enjoying grandchildren at that particular time. And I can tell you now, it is happening exactly as it was planned so many years ago. We have
Now, I was
about
going to
7
say,
grandchildren.
okay,
Yes.
sorry. I was going to say, now you understand, Mam Kotela and the viewers, what the reason why I love my children. You know, so much. I'm very close to them. And funny Nix, it is because I struggled to conceive. Actually, let me remind my husband, he forgot something. The reason it was not more of being infertile, it was more of, if you remember, just before I conceived our firstborn, I was up for an operation because they said the seizures that I used to have over the years, they actually, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but they kind of, you know, so instead of yoba ndikwazi conceive, you know, sijonge kucala right. So now I was due for an operation, but the operation that God did, He did the operation before the main operation. So exactly. So that's why when they are married and they struggle to have kids, I normally encourage and I counsel those people because I know Indoba uThixo yena is our great physician. Ugobhoza apho kungagobhozeki khona. Ke Modimo wa rona, ke Modimo ya etsang mehlolo. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, that's why I cherish and embrace my children, because I nearly did not have children, but now I have my children. But now one of those were our highs. We had so many beautiful highs, because we were privileged to move from one district to the other, meeting people, you know, different people and stuff like that, and we would contribute in their lives, you know. That's why now another thing is that God paired us together. He's a pastor, I'm a pastor. Many people would ask Uguchi, is this not giving you a problem? How can you have two pastors in one crowd? You know, is this not giving you a problem? But I can tell you that was the best thing that God could have done for us, to pair us together, because I'm coming with my own leadership skills. He's coming with his own, and both of us, it has enhanced our ministry in all aspects. I'm not sure if you wanted to talk about how that has actually impacted on our marriage.
Yeah, I think so. And before Mfundisi comes in, Mfundisi is load shedding where he is, so we're gonna have connection problems. Like he's frozen now. But I can attest to your ministry, and your talent, because both of you are quite talented. But the way in which you always come across, it is well coordinated. So your ministry, what is the word I'm looking for, complements each other. For his purpose and all. So often this is frozen. So until he comes back, unfortunately, because they've got load shedding on their side. But hopefully they'll come back. But before you continue, ma'am, just on the issue of children, and each of your children being miracles, you know my story as well. My second miracle, I'm just doing a quick shout out. My second miracle, Ubantu, is turning 5 today. That child, you would know this, that child was conceived in 2018 when I was losing my father. He was born in 2018, but he was conceived in 27. I did not even know I was pregnant, because there I was watching my father die. And in that same time that God was allowing this one man to sleep, there was another young man that was growing inside my tummy. And he looks so much like my father in everything, in so many ways. So my boy is turning 5 today. So mummies, if you could please pray a blessing over my beautiful Bantu. Both my children they didn't come like that. You know, it's both of them miracle stories. And as you say, ma'am, the same story. I've always said this to you. You guys, the 5 of you, are very close knit family. It is just about Xhamela, but one thing we know: those 5 people love each other and they stand for each other. And now I get a sense of that from your sharing as well. You wanted to add something?
Yes. Okay. I wanted, my husband was going to highlight this one. In particular, he wanted to be the one highlighting it, because Yabana, when you talk about marriage, you don't just paint a beautiful picture all the time as if that's what marriage is. There are times when you face challenges in a marriage setup. And one of the challenges that we faced was that he wanted to highlight this one, that there was a time where we are together in the ministry, and it's beautiful, it's flourishing, we are impacting people and all that stuff. But there was a time when he had now to stop working. You know, he wanted to highlight that he had to stop working, and you know, that on its own, it now had to bring a challenge that I want to speak about when I try to encourage others as well. When a head of the family, a breadwinner, stops working, you know, and he becomes a man, if I have to put it that way, and you remain the one at that particular time. You know how God does things. When my husband stopped working, when he resigned from the ministry, and he was out of work, and at that time God gave me a wonderful work, you know, to be able to sustain the family, you know, that we can't take for granted. But what I wanted to highlight is that it becomes easier sometimes for a wife, if you are the only one who's maintaining the home. Sometimes you become use that the opportunity to shine as a breadwinner, and then we put this one who's not working, this one who now all of a sudden is maybe rendered useless, this one who all of a sudden maybe cannot be respected by the children because there's nothing that he's bringing to the table. You know, we went through that, but my husband wanted to relate it. My husband wanted to say, you know, this is where I saw my wife respecting me more and more. This is where I saw my wife every month. You know, when he gets her salary, he would come and give me that salary, all of that salary, to be the one remaining who calls the shots in the home. You know, to be the one who decides what to buy, what not to buy, you know. And to my children, my husband wanted to say that, to my children, I remained a capable father, because here am I, the one with a salary, and if mana kum come, but him who's calling the shots, you know. So I'm mentioning this as a law. I'm mentioning this because my husband wanted to be the one talking about it. I don't know how he was going to relate about it, but I am saying, as a person who relates it, I'm saying, there are times when you are going to be the one or who's the breadwinner. But that does not mean now you are all of a sudden now a husband.
Yeah.
Remain being a wife.
Yeah.
Remain being submissive. Remain being a person obonisa apha ebantwaneni into yoba hloniphani utata wenu, hlomphanga utata walona. You know, so there was that law in our lives, but that law did not affect us negatively. Yes, it was tough. Yes, bekubuhlungu. Yes, but we managed to be, you know, a normal family that was functioning well. And lo and behold, things changed. Today, as I'm talking to you, my husband is the one working. I'm not working. You know, things changed. And remember, if Bendienda Petsula Gezela at that time, what was I going to do now? I'm surviving today because of him. You know, tables have changed. And when tables change. But what is important is the love must not end between the two of you. And let me also highlight this, because I told him that I'm going to highlight this. This law, this very thing, you know, and I had to deal with forgiveness. I want to mention forgiveness. At 8 o'clock, there's going to be load shedding on my side.
Oh my goodness.
If I please.
Just pause. I want us to go to forgiveness, because I think we need a big one with you, Nomfundisi. I think we need a big one with you, Nomfundisi. See, orchestrate, see, organize because you are going on a big topic on forgiveness, but you have just spoken on a big topic of money. I'm really praying that Umfundisi can still be able to come back, because you know his perspective. Although you guys are one by now, you're coming out. Somebody's asking, is the book out? So I'm not the only one who's going to be hounding you about a book. There. We need this. The topic of money in marriage. And the times that we live in, you know, Uguti, it's because we come from the era the men must provide, and the men did provide, but we are living in challenging times now where it doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes, yes, they provide, and they love providing because it says something about that. You know, it speaks to them and their need to provide. And Meme said she's frozen now because they also now have got load shedding. Eskom these days also for men. But the whole story of money, I'm going to just put her in the back room. So now, ladies, you're going to have to pray, all right? Because we've lost our guests due to load shedding. Umfundisi was going through load shedding. Umem is just now gone into load shedding. But I'm hoping that they will reconnect. But we're not going to cancel this session because of that. Okay. But the big topic of money, it is no longer a given now that it is what we say, it is the men that must provide. We live in a time where sometimes the wheels have turned, all right? And especially in the era where there is things like affirmative action and things like that, that some job specs say this must be a female candidate. So our husbands then struggle to find means of income. But I love what Mem then says, the love must remain. The love must remain. The respect must remain. In fact, it is moments such as those. I used to, I don't do it anymore, but when we would go to counseling and we would hear words, and I would go on and on about the weaknesses of my husband, as he often puts it, confessing somebody else's sins. And this is, then somebody would say to me, that, by the way, is what you meant when you stood all those years ago and you said for better, for worse. Okay? Things like job loss. Is that when you said that I will love you and I will respect you, I will love you and I will submit to you for better or for worse? For better, for worse. You made a commitment to say, I will love you for better or for worse. Now you are expected to do the same. I see Mem is coming back in, so I allow her to settle. I'm still praying, ladies. This is now a test for us to pray that Umfundisi can also come back in. I just need to quickly, I'll take some comments until Mem settles. Whoa, a lot is being said here. All right, we'll keep it here. We want the book. We want the book. And then somebody says, Mem, that is powerful. How you facilitated your low moment. Okay. Ompile says, children respect dad, even if not the parent. That's powerful. And you drive that as the wife. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm back. Usathana ke unomona. He's messing with us. He's messing with us. Okay, Mem, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Yes, I'm back.
Awesome. I think we need to agree, and we're gonna talk here at the Theatre of Grace. We're gonna have a weekend retreat somewhere in the Karoo, I don't know, between DR and Springbok. We're gonna have a weekend what, you know, ladies. We must talk. We must talk. We must talk, and we get the Xhamelas for the weekend to share with us. I take it Umfundisi, this is battling still.
Yes, he is. He is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, we'll try and find a way to continue. Okay, ma'am. We left. Then you were going to go into this big one because we had one big item of money. Thank you so much for what you've said. Now the next big item, we battle with this as human beings, and I can tell you we battle with this as women. Forgiveness within the context of marriage. One of the things I remember you say a while ago. That umchado is a union of two forgivers. Let me let you continue while I'm just gonna put up the comments as you speak. Sorry, ladies, about the cut. Yeah.
All right. I apologize. Really, I knew that at 8 o'clock we were going to have load shedding on my side. So I really apologize. I wanted to say, you know, what I like about my husband and I is that when we were preparing, especially for this, but not only for this, but just it's our lifestyle that we are open about our life, you know. So when we were preparing for this, we were highlighting our lows and we're highlighting our highs, and we agreed that we are going to talk about. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Oh, okay. We agreed that we are going to talk about these thorny issues that people don't talk about. You know, people like to dress up and pretend as though everything is glossy. Marriage is fine. No, marriage is fine. Marriage is doable, but marriage has ups and there are downs. You know, just I left out when I was talking about right when my husband had to, you know, stop working and had to leave the ministry and had to, that adjustment was painful.
Yeah.
Let me highlight for the first time. Let me publicly acknowledge that it was an adjustment. 1 minute I am Mamfundisi, the other minute I don't know what I am. You understand what I'm saying? And that affects the marriage, and that affects the relations, that affects everything about it. But one thing that I am happy that it did not affect the love that we have between the two of us. But having said that, now at the end of the day, you have to really relate to this person. How do you relate to this person? How do you forgive this person, who has inconvenienced you in one way or the other? How do you begin to do that? So there were low moments in our marriage, and there was a growing distance. Let me put it that way. There was a growing distance between the two of us. There was feelings of hopelessness in our relationship. And most time when that would happen, I would plead to God to put our family back together again. I would have see when the Bible says pray without ceasing, I would have ceasingless moments where I would plead to God to put our family at a crucial time. And remember, at this time, this is the time where you need your church. This is the time when you need your sisterhood. This is the time when you need your support. But unfortunately, this was the time when we were a laughing stock. When people were clapping hands, some of the people were clapping hands. Some of the people were saying, there they are. This is the time we want to see them back, falling back on their feet. We said this marriage thing is not there. So we want to see when it falls back. And this is the time where I would plead to God to put our family back together again. So yes, there were moments I would be preoccupied with my husband's mistakes. There were moments where I would be preoccupied with my husband's sins. Let me put it that way. And it consumed my thoughts. Let me put it that way. And I would go to God and I would cry out and I would say, Lord, I don't want to be bitter, but I don't know how to stop this. Please help me. This is the prayer that I would make to God. Lord, I don't know how to forget this. I don't know how to delete this, how to undo this. Please help me. And I don't know how not to be bitter, but please help me. And immediately God revealed to me that I had, not to rehearse this. Immediately God revealed to me that I don't have to rehearse the sins that my husband committed, if I have to put it that way. The mistakes that my husband committed, God revealed to me that I don't have to rehearse it. You understand what I'm saying? And at first, let me tell you, forgiveness, it felt like death. Let me put it that way. I'm sorry for, I'm sorry for crying.
Inyukile ngoku, man. Inyukile. Because those are the things we deal with. I love the word you use, consumed, and it plays in your head over and over and over. You are consumed by the other person's mistake, and who is the ultimate winner there? It is not you. You are miserable. Definitely not the other person, but the devil is sitting and playing this thing over and over and over again. I love how real this conversation is, and somebody said that. I love how real this conversation is, because those are the things that we are dealing with in marriages. All of us here, all of us, and right now we are chopping onions, and I am, and let me keep quiet and let you continue.
Yeah.
I'm just putting this here. Forgiveness is no child's play. But I love what you say, ma'am, that because what we do then, when we are in pain and hurt by the other person, you wait for them to come and make it right. But, and we're not saying that someone mustn't come and make it right when they hurt you, that if you've been hurt by your husband, that they mustn't come. But you were uncomfortable, as painful as it was, as much as you were the one rehearsing, as much as you were the one being consumed by that. but you kept asking God to help you to put your family together. There was no chip on your shoulder to say, he did this, but your interest was still in keeping your family together. So, and we are here now having this conversation as a testimony and a testament that God can and God does. And perhaps, I now this is not here. People, by the way, we're asking for part 2. We'll talk about that. But yeah, let me let you continue. I'm losing it. I think I'm but I don't know.
Yeah, when I say at first forgiveness felt like death.
Yeah.
I don't have another word to explain it. Okay. All I can say is that if Christ wasn't enabling me to do it, I never could have been. I never could have attempted it. You understand?
Yeah.
God revealed to me that forgiveness was not saying that my husband's actions were okay.
Yeah.
Listen to this one. Forgiveness was not saying my husband's actions were okay. The act of forgiveness is not about overlooking mistakes or overlooking sin. Listen to me. It's actually it involves acknowledging its magnitude. Acknowledging its magnitude.
Yeah.
For it to equate it, to say, do you release it or do you call it quits? It acknowledges its magnitude. So I saw that forgiveness was not a once and done event in my case, but it was rather an ongoing choice.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's an ongoing choice. No, it's not a once and done thing. It's an ongoing choice. Why do I say that? Because 1 minute you are okay, you are walking 2 miles up front. The next minute, when all the memories come and why you are where you are in the first place, you go back 10 kilometers back. You understand? So that's why it's not a once-off event. It's an ongoing choice. To continue to say, I could choose to either rehearse it or release it, or the mistakes. Now, one or two things that I want to highlight before I keep quiet about forgiveness, what it has done for me. It required tremendous work. Forgiveness requires tremendous work. Each time I chose to release it, it actually became easier. Each time I was conscious of the fact that I'm here for this. Each time I was conscious of the fact that one day on my crown, when I'm in heaven, the star that is on my crown, it must be a star of my husband, how I forgave him. Every time I chose it, it became easier. You understand? So I forgave my hubby because God called me to it, not because I thought it was a good thing. I don't know if you see the difference here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did it because God called me to do it, not because I thought it was a good thing to do. And let me tell you, the impact of forgiveness, it was so incredible. It was so incredible. Forgiveness radically transformed me as a person, not the other person. Not the other person. It radically transformed my walk with God. Because I understood God in a different way. I understood God in a different way. It drew me closer to God. Forgiveness, it transformed my perspective about what God meant when he was talking about 70 times 7. It actually deepened my prayer life. I stayed on my knees for me to be able to do it. On my own, I couldn't. For me to be able to do it. So it gave me, at the end of it, how can I put inexplicable joy. at the end of it. And can I tell you that it was a turning point of our lives? Can I tell you that it gave me a second honeymoon? Can I tell you that because I exercised it, it won my husband back. It
Gave you your
made my husband, it turned his life around. It made him to be a recipient of grace. It made him to see God in a different way, and that was a secret of what made our marriage to be where it is today.
Ma'am, yeah, we could continue. There is a call for part 2, I think, especially because Eskom robbed us of Umfundisi, although you have so beautifully brought his perspective. But I think we will need a part 2, particularly this for our international audience, because hey, locally, ladies, we are going to put it together. We are going to have to find a venue, a date, and a time where we will spend a weekend with Umem Nomfundis. But I love the last line on forgiveness, that it gave you your husband back. It gave you your marriage back, because sometimes we forget that the person who has wronged you at that time, and that's limited to marriage, when he has made the mistake, when you have made the mistake, you also have to carry the burden of that mistake on your own. And next to that is then the burden of the impact of that mistake on the ones that you love, on your family, on everything else, and how it has affected you holistically. And so when you forgive, you at least take yourself off. You lighten his burden of dealing with his mistake, because at least my wife, while she's hurting, but at least she has forgiven me, and that helps him on his way to working towards forgiving himself, and being able to free himself from that burden. You've given us a whole new perspective, man, on forgiveness for us, as well as for others. The comments, when you've got time, you can just go through Facebook and YouTube and read them. It's going wild there, because what you've brought us is something amazing. Let's try and wrap it now. Like I said, we're not going to finish it because we haven't got time. You guys, I watch you, I see you, I watch you glow. You only the numbers say you guys are over 60, because you are getting younger and younger. But you are in your second honeymoon. I watch you when we were busy here now, and you had come in, and the minute you came, Umfundisi was just light up. You light up as well. This is after 39 years of marriage, and this is after the many, many highs and lows that you've experienced. You guys still look at each other in that way. And I want you now, as we close it, to speak to that, to the second honeymoon. As you have gotten past the high, the terrible waves, what is God doing in your lives right now as a married couple? Because in doing so, you are telling us, it does indeed get better. It does indeed get sweeter. God remains faithful.
It's so true. It's so true. What we have gone through with my husband, it cannot be told in 30 minutes. We have been there for each other. I've been there when he lost his dad. He closed my dad's eyes when my dad passed away. My husband is the one who closed his eyes. And 3 months down the line, when my mom passed away, my husband jumped. I was on a business trip somewhere. I couldn't be home at that time. He was the first to be home at that time. So we've been there for each other when our parents were still alive. He's the one who decide that let's buy a car for your dad. I'm the one who decide let us buy a car for your parents. This is what we did between the two of us. And for the 39 years of marriage, I've been a friend to her mom, to his mom up until today. I've never had any squabble with my mom-in-law. We were together up until today. She is ailing now, and we are still together. So I'm trying to say the ups and the downs, they shape the marriage. People must not just throw in a towel, because when you throw a towel, you don't know the second honeymoon that is awaiting for you. And this is what we're experiencing right now. We are so close to each other together because our laws actually transformed us. I don't know, I wish I can stand on the mountain and tell the world the kind of a husband, a new kind of a husband that I have. Someone who fears God with all his life. Someone every time when he says, hey, uThixo ngasungiphi imali wena ndikubone into yoba ndingaguqula abantu abangaphi. That's what the dream that my husband has. I even say to him, you know what? Once a pastor, always a pastor. This is what he wants to do with his life. He wants to run crusades. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. And to me, that's a brand new person that I have. Someone who loves God with all his mind, with all his. So our second honeymoon is just experiencing the love, the genuine love that we have. I stand for that man and he stands for me all the time. That's the second honeymoon. The second honeymoon says, kumnandi, kungamnandanga, kunemali, kungekho mali, we are here together. And that we have put it to our children. The way we love them, the way they see it. They see it because it's actually going to help them now as they are growing, as they are starting, they're going to start their own families. They are experiencing a second harm. They've never had such a mom who's so happy. They've never had such a dad who is so committed to his marriage. So I want to say to someone out there, things may look gloomy. Mhlawumbe usemtshatweni for 22 years kungona i-true colors zalo muntu wakho uzibonakalayo ezibuhlungu. Let me tell you, don't throw in that towel, because right at that moment, that's where God is just about to show you into ubuhlungu obu experience for all these years. Now I'm here to wipe your tears. I'm here to give you a wonderful husband, to give you a wonderful wife that you've been dreaming about. That's the second honeymoon. Each moment that we have, we are happy together. Now, lastly, Kotela, I want to say to the wives out there, tell your husband, tell him you love him. Tell him often that you love him. You can never reassure him too much. Celebrate him. Don't ever miss the opportunity to tell him how much you appreciate him. You should be his biggest and loudest cheerleader. Oh, I'm his biggest and loudest cheerleader. And create a safe space for him. You should be his happy place. He should be able to come to you to talk about how he feels without it being used against him at a later stage. Let him be transparent to you. Don't files by what he has revealed to you. Don't use it against him, and make him, let me tell you this, make love to him. Sex is one way our husbands relieve the stress and they relax. It's not only gratifying him. Let me tell you, it brings him pleasure to be able to bring pleasure to you. So this is what kept us going. And let me tell you, be affectionate, hold his hand, rub his shoulders, kiss him, make him know that you are attracted to him and you desire him all the time. Sanuti nikula again. Yes, tell him that you are still attracted to him, and do stuff for him, make him feel special. Your husband should leave work or should leave wherever and run home because he knows that someone there. Umtshato uyasetyenzelwa bantwana bam. Don't relax. It's 39 years emtshatweni, but I still wake up and want to make best tea for him because I know how he will appreciate that. This is what we wanted to share with you.
Standing ovation. We could continue. And this is just men, okay, guys. I must tell you, this is men, and the two of them don't put this fire. That's why we really have to put this together. We somehow have to put it together. So I'm not calling them on this side. You have said so many things, so many powerful things. But of all the things that has come through this morning, it is your authenticity, because we can sometimes paint this unreal picture, yomtshato, and in that way send a false message, to those who are watching, because they think that this is how it's supposed to be. If it is not like that in their marriage, then there's something wrong with their marriage. It's not always. It's nice. Yes, we play. I see when I know for this guy, you play a lot. We play, we enjoy, but there are some dark times, but we help each other. We bury our parents together. We lose children together, and we make mistakes, and we live through those mistakes. Ma'am, let's close it. But I don't want to close it without asking you very briefly to speak to the issue of physical abuse. Like I said, in a part 2, we'll talk about that. Because what we are saying here is hang on, till death do us part. That's what we are saying to all of us. But there are these extreme moments, and maybe that's a different topic altogether, where things have really, really gone extremely bad, to the point where but they are still saying, because we said till death do us part. I want you to speak to that, and then I'm going to ask you at the end to pray for us as we close. But I just want to come in after you've spoken to that. I will come in, but then I'm just warning you that Sizacela usisondeze nalamakhaya wethu before God. And we have said that Mfundisi couldn't come back in, but we will definitely have another time with him.
Yeah, Mamu Kotela, umtshato, marriage, as ordained by God, it is an institution where both of you need to enjoy in it, and need to feel safe and secured and protected in it. That's how God, Kaloku, when God created marriage, he wanted to give us a glimpse of what heaven is all about. So now, which means the way esiphathana ngayo emtshatweni, we need to portray and we need to represent God in our marriage. God is not an abuser. God is not a violent God. God is not a person ohlukumezayo. So I cannot, as a marriage counselor, encourage people to say, because you need to be in a marriage, you need to stay in an abusive marriage, especially in a physical abuse, even emotional abuse. I cannot here as a counselor encourage people to say, Khala, because you are supposed to be in a marriage. If it poses danger to you, this is the place where you need to get out. I'm sorry to mention this, but if it is something that poses danger to you, don't stay because to protect abantwana. You are actually damaging your children. You are doing the opposite. You are actually portraying to your children that this is how it's supposed to be. You understand? But I am here to say also, seek counseling. Counseling, you must not seek counseling only when there's a problem. Tina, as counselors, we are not here to make money. We are here to redeem lives. So when you see red flags, uncontrollable, seek counseling early in life. Don't wait until such time that you experience the worst. So I'm saying umtshato is there to help each other to enjoy. It is not to bear. Don't endure. You need to enjoy. Don't endure umtshato, but you need to enjoy umtshato. So linyalo is for us who really tabele, hube munati, rithabisane linyalo. That's basically it.
Yeah, Thank you so much, ma'am. I wanted to mention this, by the way, guys. Here we are having a free session. This is free, all right? But ma'am, Nomfundis are professional counselors by virtue of ministry, all right? Both of them are trained pastors. Ma'am, we call a ma'am, but umfundisi uXhamela. Umfundisi Mbuyi Xhamela, nomfundisi uNation Xhamela. So yes, it's nice to have a group session where all of us come together and we all get counseling, we all get group counseling, but you have your individual needs as a couple and as a family. They do this professionally. And if you think that what we've gotten here is powerful, I promise you, when it's just the four of you, in a room, you will walk away, and it's the beauty of them. I mean, you know, sometimes when you go to people with challenges, but they've never been through what you've been through, you're like, I wonder if they can help you through this. But so when we go to people like yourselves who have seen struggle, who have gone through this, you at the end of the day, you will still counsel, but you are also able to say to whoever you are talking to, look at me, I can testify. What I'm talking about, God does do it. We have seen him rebuild our own marriage. Nancy number, amen. Ladies have shared it so that you guys can get hold of them directly as a couple, even as just a wife. If you want to start and have your own, will share with you if maybe just your husband wants to just have his own. And this is the beautiful era of technology. So wherever you are in the world, you can get hold of them via Zoom. You guys can sit and have your marriage sessions so that at the end of the day, we are able to keep our family. As somebody was asking, my BK is asking, do they have the sessions across borders? Absolutely. Absolutely. We have the sessions across the border. So please get hold of them. If you forget, please, you can find me and then I will send you because there are really people who are committed. Like I shared earlier on, I've got friends of mine who had been married for a few years and life just got really, really bad, really, really tough. And they always say to me, had it not been for a man, don't put this come in. We were gone, we were finished, and we had made peace with it. But these people came and prayerfully carried us out of the pit, and we are now, they're enjoying the bliss of marriage, still with these challenges. Thank you so much. To you and Mfundisi for your commitment to ministry, for your passion, for your love, and for pushing and holding on to God and making it work, because we have a testimony now, even as we go through our own challenges. But thank you for your support, ongoing support of our ministry as well. I knew that if I can get good, I like in this but there's a call for part 2. We'll talk about part 2. But ladies, while we wait for part 2, don't wait. Don't sit. Let's not sit on things. Let's go and speak to people that have been down this road and can help us. So I'm going to ask Mem to pray for us now. And ladies, sorry, before I forget, we are closing our 7-day fast today. I want to invite you one last time. This afternoon, we are having our last Best Life seminar. It's at 3 o'clock. That's how we close the 7-day fast. Even if you didn't join us for the fast, all right, please join us this afternoon at 3 o'clock. If you want to join us, just drop me a message and I will send the Zoom links later this afternoon. We are having a session done by Osheli, Reclaiming Holistic Health. All right, we want to be strong and healthy, also as wives, so that we can do all the necessary things in a good state of health in our home. So please join us this afternoon, ma'am. And thank you so much. If you could just have your concluding remarks and then pray for us. And everybody, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for affording us this opportunity. And I want to assure everyone who's here, you were at the right place at the right time. God wanted you to get this motivation. And I pray for you. I know that God is going to bless you as well. To those who are going through struggle, I just pray that we were able to inspire you so that you don't give up, but you know that there's a God above who is able to redeem you and to give you a second honeymoon. May God bless you. Let us close our eyes as we pray. Our kind and heavenly Father, Lord, we want to thank you. Thank you, Jehovah. Thank you, Somandla. Thank you, Lord, for affording us a beautiful session like this one this morning. Thank you for giving us that grace that we sometimes are not even worth to receive it. Thank you for showing us that you work in relationships. Your aim is to redeem us, and your aim is to connect us together with you. We want to thank you for such platforms where we are able, Lord, to receive free counseling, but above all, to get a revival of knowing you more and more. We want to bless this platform. I want to bless this platform. I want, Lord, to make it to increase, enlarge its territory so that it can reach each and every person who may need it. I pray for Mrs. Kotela and her family. I pray for her ministry. I pray, Lord, for all the endeavors and the events that she is planning ahead. I ask you, Lord, to show yourself and tabernacle in each and every program that she does. I pray for all the participants. I pray for everyone who was here today. I pray for my family as well. I thank you for the hardship that you made us to go through, because it is through them that we were able to learn about you, and we were able to have a grip, just like that woman who touched the hem of your garment. It is through our ministry, it is through our marriage that we were able to touch the hem of your garment. And Lord, we will not let loose until that day we graduate in heaven together with my husband. Bless us in a special way. Bless our children. Bless our ministry. And bless every endeavor that we also do to enhance other marriages. I pray this humble in your wonderful name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, ma'am, and have a blessed week, everybody. Like I said, ma'am, when you've got time, go and read the comments. I can't. There's just been so much love and so much appreciation for what you've done. Ladies, have a blessed week. We'll see you again next Sunday. Yeah, thank you very much. Let me end the broadcast now before I overtalk.